Good evening, this is Brass Tacks. I'm Zakir Jacob. A day after the Parliament security breach, it is politics front and centre. Today, as many as 14 MPs were suspended for the remainder of the session since they asked for a statement from the Home Minister and a discussion on this massive security breach. But the government says the opposition is needlessly politicising this issue. The said MPs were being unruly in the well of the House, and also the BJP says the antecedents of the attackers is clear. They are Andolanjeevis who are part of a Congress communist nexus. But should the basic question not be addressed? And that is, who is going to take responsibility for this massive security breach? But first, the story so far.
सभा की कार्यवाही 2 बजे तक स्थगित की जाती है।
For it is a very serious breach which has happened. For we need the Honourable Home Minister to come and make a statement in the Parliament.
अगर होम मिनिस्टर आ जाते बयान दे देते तो कोई सवाल नहीं उठता, लेकिन ट्रेजरी वाज कंप्लीट साइलेंट. दे डोंट थिंक इट्स एन इश्यू एंड होम मिनिस्टर तो आने का सोचा ही नहीं. तो इसीलिए हमारा फर्ज बनता ऑपोजिशन होते हुए पीपल्स वॉइस उठाना.
इस देश के युवाओं की दिशा बदल रही है, वो निराश है, विफलता से निराश है. उसके लिए सरकार जिम्मेदार है, लेकिन सरकार निवडणूक के प्रचार में, चुनाव के प्रचार में है. प्रधानमंत्री से गृह मंत्री तक, संरक्षण रक्षा मंत्री तक पूरी सरकार सभी राज्यों में शपथ ग्रहण समारोह में बिजी है.
नारेबाजी की घटनाएं और पेपर फेंकना और तरह तरह की जंपिंग की घटनाएं पिछले जो हमारा पहले का पार्लियामेंट है उसमें भी पहले हो चुकी हैं. मैं समझता हूं कि सभी को मिलकर इस घटना को कंडेम करना चाहिए.
I hereby name Sri Derek O'Brien. Derek O'Brien is hereby named to leave the house immediately.
All right, but I want to first bring you up to speed with how this entire thing was being planned for the better part of almost a year now. 12 months, 7 plotters and 1 recce. The intruders basically met on a Facebook fan page dedicated to Bhagat Singh. This was in 2022. Planning for the entire security breach began in January of this year. So for the entire year, they were just planning for this one day, the 13th of December. Sagar Sharma from Lucknow, he visited Parliament during the earlier budget session for a recce. Then Manoranjan, who hails from Mysuru, he arranged for the passes from Pratap Simha's office because he's the MP from Mysuru. Manoranjan then introduced Sagar as a friend to one of Simha's staff, and that's how passes were issued. The passes were issued on the pretext of seeing the new Parliament building. Amol Shinde, who hails from Latur in Maharashtra, he was the one who brought the smoke bombs. He handed it over to Sagar in Kurla in Mumbai. Sagar came via the Gomti Express from Lucknow to Delhi. Amol Shinde then arrived from Latur. Neelam Azad arrived from Jind in Haryana. Meeting happened at Manoranjan's friend Vicky's home. This happened in Gurgaon for the 3 days leading up to the 13th of December. From 10th, 11th, 12th, they were staying at Vicky Sharma's place. Neelam, Manoranjan, Lalit Jha and Amol then arrived at India Gate on the morning of 13th of December, which was yesterday. Sagar then meets the other intruders at India Gate after collecting the passes. All of them then head to the Parliament building. Sagar and Manoranjan enter the Parliament building using the passes that were made available by Pratap Simha's office. The visitor gallery pass is one big focus area because that is now under scrutiny as to how a member of Parliament could issue passes to these attackers. Now, the procedure for issuing passes. The passes are issued in a limited and controlled manner. There are a dedicated number of people who are allowed in the visitors gallery every day. The application can be submitted by a member of parliament and a centralized pass is issued. There is a pass issuing cell which comes under the Secretariat of the Lok Sabha. The online application can be submitted on the Digital Sansad website. The online application is only possible through the login credentials of a member of parliament. So his or her staff has to then enroll those applications onto the parliament website. The pass is then issued in the name of the visitor, if it is cleared, of course, within a day or so. In fact, that brings us to a mega exclusive that we've got courtesy our investigations editor Manoj Gupta. Top intelligence sources are now telling him that parliament attackers, they just wanted publicity. There is no detection of any foreign hand, no kind of foreign conspiracy, at least so far in what the investigations are revealing. They're also completely ruling out any kind of terror angle or terror attack because the intention was not to cause harm to any of the members of parliament. They knew that by this kind of act, the media will give them publicity, and that's why they acted accordingly. They tried last year as well to do the same thing, but they failed. But this year, they managed to sneak past the security in Parliament and managed to create all that hangama that we saw yesterday in the Lok Sabha. The agency's probe could not find anything major which is dangerous in terms of threat to life of any of the members of Parliament or even a threat to national security. So it seems like there is no foreign hand, there is no terror angle for now, but these people were trying to just gain some publicity. But it does raise some very, very serious questions. It is at the end of the day a major security breach, a security lapse. So it does raise some big questions, and I want to ask those questions before we go to our debate panel tonight. Number one, the CISF is the agency which mans all of the high-profile VVIP targets in this country, from the airports to the North Block and South Block, but the CISF does not man the Parliament building. Why not? That is a question that is being asked right now. Why is the Parliament building the outermost perimeter security is by the Delhi Police? The security at the entrance of the building is by the CRPF, and of course in the visitors gallery or in the main Lok Sabha hall, it's by the Parliament Watch and Ward staff. Why is it not by the CISF or any other agency? The probe that has been ordered right now, and this is very interesting, the DG CRPF is leading the probe into these security lapses. One of the agencies that is responsible for Parliament security is the CRPF. Isn't there a conflict of interest if the head of that organization is going to probe a lapse allegedly by that very same organization? Should there not be an inquiry by another agency, an independent agency, to find out where the lapse actually was? Only security personnel, I believe 8 of them have been suspended right now. These are personnel who belong to the Parliament security staff. There's been no action so far, at least, against any of the Delhi police personnel who man the outer perimeter outside the building. There's been no suspension either of any of the CRPF personnel who man the security of the building itself. Now, the political question, this is what the opposition is also saying. The Speaker happens to be the custodian of the rules and procedures of the House. He's not the head of security detail of the House. Should there not be a statement by the Home Minister under whom all security of the country converges? Also, why no statement yet by the BJP MP in question, Pratap Simha, over the issuance of this pass? After all, it was his office and on his signature that this pass was issued. He's met the Speaker yesterday and clarified his position, but he's not made a public statement yet. Opposition MPs are saying, why should there be no action against Pratap Simha? And that brings us to the moot question, and that is, after yesterday's incident, when it was the 22nd anniversary of the Parliament attack of 2001, when anyway security would have been heightened, this happened. So should there not be an overhaul of the entire security system of Parliament? Meanwhile, politics is raging on, with the opposition drawing the battle lines inside Parliament and outside. Remember, 14 opposition MPs, 13 from the Lok Sabha, 1 from the Rajya Sabha, was suspended today for the remainder of the session. They wanted the HM to make a statement followed by a debate, and they wanted the Prime Minister to be in the House while that debate happened. This is what CPIM General Secretary Sitaram Yechury has tweeted. It's part of our Motorola India's Best 5G Smartphones tweet of the day.
Hello, Moto.
So this is what the tweet is. He has said that the House Committee for Security has not been reconstituted. The Joint Secretary, Head of Security, has not been appointed. That position is vacant for the last 3 months. BJP MP who sponsored the entry, which is Mr. Pratap Simha, he's not been questioned by the inquiry agencies yet. But 15 opposition MPs have been suspended for demanding answerability of the Prime Minister and the Home Minister, murder of democracy. That's the tweet. It is part of our Motorola India's Best 5G Smartphone tweet of the day. Now, clearly the government is on the back foot. They need to explain who was responsible for the security breach and to fix these loopholes, to plug the gaps so that an incident like yesterday does not repeat. Which is the question, is it time for a total security overhaul? And that is our debate tonight.
Hello, Moto.
All right, so joining us on the talking point this evening, Shazia Ilmi is National Spokesperson of the BJP, Supriya Srinath, National Spokesperson of the Congress Party, Head of the Social Media Department, Desh Deepak Verma is former Secretary General of the Rajya Sabha, BL Vora will be joining us, former IPS officer, Nola Sen is Rajya Sabha member of the Trinamool Congress. Let me start with you, Shazia Ilmi. The basic question the opposition is asking is, this is a major security breach. 3 layers of security were breached by these 2 individuals. Thank God they had just these smoke canisters. What if they had poison gas in their shoes? Who should be held accountable for this? Because clearly someone should.
Absolutely, Zaka. I couldn't agree more. This is a major security lapse. A big breach has taken place, and there is investigation going on. It could have been a whole lot worse. God knows what could have happened. So definitely, the MP whose responsibility it was to ensure that the visitors who are being given passes to should have checked them out better and known more about them before issuing them. But the fact of the matter is that instead of having sympathy for all these protesters or miscreants or whatever you want to call them, because we don't want to call them terrorists, as you just said, terror angle has been ruled out. Amit Shah ji, the Home Minister, has just made a statement that full investigation is going on. There is an inquiry underway. Of course, there is a major lapse. I mean, we can't run away from that responsibility. Speaker is the custodian. He has written to MHA. All that is being done. So, I mean, a lot more could have been done and should have been done. So, I'm not going to run away from that. But I also would like to make a point here that we should all be together in this. 1. 2, why have sympathy for those and call them bichara, lachar, berozgar, yuva, and make it a statement about the Prime Minister Modi ji's regime? It is not about that. You have to hold them in contempt and disdain for what they have done, not glorify them, not valorize them, not make them into some kind of heroes only because you want to make a point against the government.
Okay. So let me ask Supriya Srinath that. Supriya Srinath, the point that the government and government spokespersons are making is that this is not the first time that somebody has jumped off the visitors gallery onto the floor of the Lok Sabha. It's happened, I believe, 12 times since 1970. In 1994, Prem Samrat jumped from the visitors gallery onto the Lok Sabha floor. He raised slogans. He was let off with a warning. Again in 1994, Mohan Pathak jumped onto the Lok Sabha chamber from the visitors gallery. He was also let off with a warning. The speaker issued a warrant. Both of them were briefly jailed. And then in 2016, Rakesh Baghel was restrained after trying to jump from the visitors gallery. He was also released after a warning. So the point that Shazia Ilmi and other BJP folks are making is, you know, why are you making such a big deal of this in a way that you're using this almost like some kind of a statement against the Modi government?
On primetime television, I'm absolutely shell-shocked if the argument that's coming from the BJP, and I'm presuming that's the one that you're repeating, that this isn't a big deal and why are we making such a humdrum about it? This could have just been a child and those guys could have been left off. Please understand what has happened, and please also understand the times that we live in. What happened in 1974 is very different from India in 2023. and there could have been grave security risk to the lives of our parliamentarians. And you do understand how destabilizing any attack on parliament could have been. These intruders, I have no sympathy for any such intruder who tries to do this in the house, who tries to intervene proceedings, who tries to jump in with canisters. There are only a few questions that I have in mind, and more as an individual than a politician. What sort of a security breach was this? I have been a journalist and I have been to parliament because my father was a member of parliament. Phones are not allowed in visitors gallery. Here are people walking in with canisters, big security lapse. You expect the government of the day to come to the house, speak on the floor of parliament, so that there is greater confidence amongst people that the government is in control, things are all right. This is one miscreant that has been done. But that's not happened. Instead, the government is shying away. And you know, somebody just said here, we are all in this together. If we are all in this together, then what was the sin that the 15 MPs had committed which led to their expulsion? And lo behold, the government MP, the BJP MP who facilitated the entry of these intruders continues to be in office. So it's laughable. In fact, one of the MPs who was suspended was, forget about not in parliament, he is not even in New Delhi. That tells you the extent of how you know what a circus there is as far as
the
this
speaker
government
outlined the reasons for why these MPs were suspended. He says it was not becoming of them to be protesting in the well of the House, despite him warning them on multiple occasions. They refused to leave the well of the House. In fact, even the marshals, they were not even listening to the marshals of the House. This is the contention by the speaker.
Zaka, this is India's parliament. This is not some kindergarten nursery where our parliamentarians are going to. If India's parliament is not going to see its members protest or raise their voices, then I wonder where is that going to happen. So this kind of a chiding by the speaker, these are not kindergarten kids. For hell's sake, these are India's elected parliamentarians.
One at a time,
give
please.
them some due. And may I also say what happened yesterday? And if things had got out of hand, and if they were greater armed, they would have been threat to the very lives of the people who were protesting there.
Okay. Shazia, respond. I mean, the mood question, Shazia, is that instead of fixing accountability for these massive security breach yesterday, the government and the treasury benches are only interested in suspending opposition MPs. Please answer.
So first, let's not conflate the two issues. There is no connection between them whatsoever. Firstly, they were not expelled; they are suspended on grounds of unruly behavior, ignoble conduct. They were asking questions repeatedly, and they were behaving in the most rowdy manner. They were jumping into the well of the House, and the poor speaker kept on insisting and pleading them to not do that. And as for the official statement by the Home Minister,
you clearly have not.
No, I'm answering each
question.
Don't
know your stuff when you speak.
Be quiet for now. Be quiet for now. So and let me tell you, they were suspended, not expelled.
You're not a school principal.
About that.
Just like the speaker is not the school principal, and just like that's not a kindergarten.
Light of it.
So don't talk in that language.
Just said, and I said it in my opening comments, that this is a major lapse. God knows what could have happened. Nobody is making a
What have you done to the BJP MP? I would like to know. Why has he not been suspended?
Do not scream. You're nobody to scream.
How did you facilitate entry?
You come from a party where two
what has been done to the BJP MP? Where is accountability?
In 1978,
you want to sit here on your high horse and talk absolute nonsense like you always do.
MLAs.
One second. Look, if both of you are going to speak at the same time, we're not going to be able to hear either of you. So I'm going to pull back, and I want to go to the experts. I want to go to Deshdeepak Verma, who's been a former Secretary General of the Rajya Sabha. Sir, please explain to us. There are multiple layers of security for any ordinary person to enter Parliament. Like one of the panelists said, if you're going to the visitors gallery, you cannot carry a mobile phone, you cannot carry a wallet. I believe you can't even carry a bottle of water into the visitors gallery. How is it that these two people managed to carry smoke canisters inside their shoe into the visitors gallery? And the three layers of security that I was talking about: outer perimeter, Delhi police, the building entrance, etc., by the CRPF, and of course at the final, either in the gallery or in the floor of the House, you have the watch and ward staff and the marshals. How is it that all three layers of security were breached by these two individuals? Isn't that a big lapse?
Well, I agree with you that it is a big security lapse. And this has happened in spite of the fact that the 3-layer security has been tested over time and it has turned out to be quite effective and successful. But there are two things which have happened, and I think we must take that into account. The one is that the building in which the security drill was in a way foolproofed, that building has changed. Now there is a new building, so there is a new dynamics of the whole building, so that has to be taken into account. The other thing which has happened very recently is the unification of the two security. One is the Lok Sabha security, the other one the Rajya Sabha security. Now there is a unified command, and it was at the instance of the Honorable Prime Minister that he had made this suggestion, and Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha presiding officers considered that, and when I was there, in fact, that unification has taken place. But these two factors will have to be tested, and I presume that that it has happened in a big way, in many ways, but still it needs to be perfected, and I feel that more security drills, more gadgets, more kind of pre-parliament session drills which are organized before every session, that needs to be done. And this is, and in fact, if you look at it, the incident, what has happened is that, for example, that person brought the canisters hidden inside her shoes, inside his shoes.
His shoes, yes.
Now the shoes have not been, at any point of time, the shoes were never checked. So I think because of the several incidents, what we need to do is that we need to draw the lessons from what is happening all over the country, all over the world, in terms of such disruptive activities, and the young people draw lessons from that. They look at it, they look at what is happening in the film, they look at what is happening. If you know that in some of the parliaments, even the MPs brought these kinds of canisters and they put it in the house. So these young people sometimes, and it is totally not justified, and whatever kind of frustration and whatever kind of anger you may have, but this cannot be justified.
Dola Sen is also joining us. She's a Trinamool member of parliament. She was also out protesting today in the Lok Sabha. So 13 of your colleagues, ma'am, have been suspended for unruly behavior, for squatting in the well of the house, despite the speaker giving them multiple warnings. Yes, no one is denying that what happened yesterday is a major security breach. The government's contention is that the speaker is the custodian of the house. 8 parliamentary staff have been suspended for the breach, and an inquiry has been ordered, and basis whatever the recommendations of the inquiry, the speaker will take necessary action. The government's contention is there is no need for the Home Minister or for the Prime Minister or anyone representing government to be making a statement, because it's parliament security that's been breached and not a government office or not any other installation.
First of all, for your information, incidentally, I am from Rajya Sabha, not from Lok Sabha.
Sorry.
However, doesn't matter. बहुत सारे बात अभी तक हुए हैं. हम 3-4 पॉइंट्स बोलना चाहते हैं. पहला कि मोदी जी या अमित शाह जी या बीजेपी या व्हाटएवर, उन लोगों ने जितना ही भी बोल सके कि ये उतना कुछ नहीं है, उतना सीरियस कुछ नहीं है, बेवजह राजनीति हो रहा है. इट्स अ सीरियस इशू, बहुत सीरियस इशू हुआ था. कल जो हुआ वो अनप्रेसिडेंटेड है, ये होना नहीं चाहिए था. और ये 3 लेयर 4 लेयर की बात सिर्फ नहीं है, ये सिर्फ पार्लियामेंट्री सिक्योरिटी स्टाफ की, दिल्ली पुलिस की, सीआरपीएफ की, सीआईएसएफ की नहीं है. ये पॉलिसी मैटर है. होम मिनिस्टर को इसके लिए जवाब देना है. उसकी पॉलिसी में कुछ ना कुछ प्रॉब्लम है. और ये भी हम पूछना चाहते हैं कि मोदी जी का इतना जल्दबाजी भी क्यों थी न्यू पार्लियामेंट बिल्डिंग ओपन करने का. हम ट्रेड यूनियन करते हैं पिछले 30 साल से. हम ट्रेड यूनियन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से एक बात करना चाहते हैं, कंपैरेटिव स्टडी. अगर पुराना पार्लियामेंट हाउस अब समझिए ना, तो वो इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट की तरह है, और न्यू पार्लियामेंट बिल्डिंग इज लाइक बानिया. यू नो द डिफरेंस बिटवीन इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट एंड बानिया. अगर आप जाएंगे ओल्ड पार्लियामेंट हाउस, तो उधर स्ट्रक्चर आर्किटेक्चर ऐसे ही है ट्रेडिशनली, तो विजिटर गैलरी बहुत ऊपर है और ये तो बहुत नीचे है कि कोई भी जंप कर सकते। पुराना पार्लियामेंट बिल्डिंग से उतना सहज नहीं था जंप करने का, और पार्लियामेंट का अंदर अगर सिक्योरिटी अमित शाह जी होम मिनिस्ट्री का तरफ से पार्लियामेंटेरियन को नहीं दिया जाएगा तो देश की आम जनता की क्या होगी। हम तो बहुत चिंतित है, हमारे इतने सारे बॉर्डर है, मोदी जी की गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से हमारा सिक्योरिटी स्टेक में तो नहीं है, पार्लियामेंट में
Shazia wants to respond to what you've said, ma'am. Yeah, Shazia.
और लास्ट एक बात हम करना चाहते हैं।
One second, Dola ji, 1 second. Shazia wanted to come in. Yeah.
हम किसी के बात में point here, Dola ji, you can go on with your political speech right now and can go on a tirade, but this is not, no, you just use the word baniya as a pejorative, and I want you to apologize. I want you to apologize for the used word of baniya. What do you mean by baniya? What do you mean by baniya? Just look at you. You have no awareness of where you are. You have just look at you, how you hyperventilating. You're not even listening. Look at you, what's happened to you. You are in a state of sorts. You are in a state. Look at you. You're not even listening.
Okay. Let me go to Mr. Vora. Mr. Vora is a former IPS officer. Mr. Vora, one second. Let me move away from the politicians, please, for a second. Mr. Vora, one basic question needs to be asked. One is that, this 3-layer security, how is it breached? Why is it that the most important installations in this country, government offices, North Block, South Block, airport, especially after 9/11, airport security is at the highest. They're all manned by one agency, which is the CISF. Why is the CISF not manning Parliament security? That's number one. Number two, an inquiry has been ordered and it will be headed by the DG CRPF. And like I said, no questions about his intentions or whatever. But the fact is that the head of the agency that is responsible for Parliament building security will also be probing what has gone wrong. Would that probe be impartial? Shouldn't there be an outside agency investigating what went wrong yesterday?
Zaka, you raised two questions. First, I'll answer that. And later, if you give me a little more time, I would like to say a few more things. Now, about the CISF. See, the question raised is very correct, very valid. And second, also, why have 3 layers by different agencies? See, when Indira Gandhi got killed, we had the SPG, and today it's looking after all the layers, at least as when they are in Delhi, in their building, in their house, whatever, the Prime Minister today. So yes, I think this is very important that one agency should be there and who's updated, who has knowledge, who has the latest equipment, this, that and all. Second is about inquiry. See, technically, why DG CRP has been asked is that he was not handling the visitors at all. So, see, these layers are for different purposes. Visitors are being dealt with only by the watch and ward staff who are issuing passes and their ministerial cadre. So that is definitely the reason as far as, I am concerned. But yes, for public consumption, what you are saying is right. But in any case, it would have been good also, it would look good if somebody else, a third agency would have been asked, some other DG may, if it had been asked to look into it, would have been very good. Now, if you permit me, there are 2-3 more things I would like to say.
Sure.
Now, one is, see, this, no doubt it's a massive security lapse. And I know that in this world of media spreading across the world in minutes, I think the world must be laughing at us. Now, 2, the security apparatus must be overhauled totally, thoroughly. Why should, for example, the security of Parliament today, these circumstances, be under the Lok Sabha Secretariat, or even for that matter under the Speaker? Well, there is a constitutional, if there is a constitutional problem, and it do that, we do for so many things. Now, the whole thing needs to be overhauled.
Okay.
From beginning till end. Security apparatus, I am told it was bought last after 2001. Now, sanctions are a problem. Financial sanctions are a problem. Bureaucratic structures in our country are so long, it takes a lot of time. Now, Parliament MPs, why should a person be given a pass without police clearance, even if the MP recommends it? or let MP recommend it with the police clearance? Isn't it necessary? For every government document, we have a police clearance. For passports, we have a clearance. We have to learn lessons. I mean, I'm only saying.
No, sir, but the argument from the MP's point of view is, you know, every MP, at least in Parliament, represents something like every constituency is about 4-5 lakh people, right? And I'm sure every MP every day is getting requests from thousands of people to, you know, come and visit, to see the new, especially the new Parliament building, etc.
In these days of instant technology, it doesn't take more than a few minutes on the computer, because the entire country, entire police, everyone is linked today with all kinds of, you know, linkages. There is no doubt about it. I'm just saying, and I'm saying this because of the circumstances that what has happened.
Okay.
Now, the next point is about this conspiracy thing that we are talking of. These people, I don't think it's as simple as that. Some people, 4 or 5 people from different states, not getting jobs and wanting publicity. Publicity, of course, every terrorist wants, every criminal wants that apart. So I think there are definitely some deeper angles somewhere needs to be probed. And I know investigation is at the initial stages. Now, anniversary of the December 13th attack, threat of that Khalistani terrorist at Pannu, I don't think I've been taken that lightly.
Okay, so let me ask Supriya Srinivasan. One of the points that, you know, people like Mr. Malviya from the BJP, etc., have been made is the connections of some of these individuals who've been nabbed. I believe the lady Neelam Azad was part of the farmers' protest. She was part of the wrestlers' protest, and they are basically pointing to what they call a communist Congress nexus. These are Andolan Jivis, etc. Should their antecedents be completely overlooked, Supriya Srinivasan?
You expect me to even answer that silly argument that's coming in from the fake news factory of the BJP? I will not even give it any relevance by answering that question, Zaka. But I have something to say in return. Yesterday was the 22nd anniversary of the Parliament being under attack. Parliament was actually under high alert. And even then a security breach like this happens. You in your opening remarks had mentioned about Sitaram Yechury's tweet, and everybody knows that the House Committee of Security has not been reconstituted. There is no Joint Secretary of Security for Parliament. We cannot take this callously, and it's not just about parliamentarians or Parliament security. Please understand, for the masses at large, Parliament is the most fortified of our buildings. Parliament, जिसको हिंदी में कहते हैं भेद नहीं सकते. And then for security breach to happen in Parliament does make people very worried about their own physical security. Please understand that. There are multiple people who are talking about security lapse today. Why is it common parlance? Because people believe if Parliament of India can be intruded, then am I secure? And I think that's the confidence that the government needed to instill in people by coming in the floor of the House and making
on the show,
and not leaving it to the Speaker to suspend
there was a
MPs.
BJP
That was the
MP
statement
who
required.
said that, look, it's not as simple as what meets the eye. You know, clearly these guys have been planning this for a while. It's not just some unemployed, disillusioned youth. These guys have been conspiring for a number of months now, and it's clear that they were conspiring since January onwards. So the contention from the BJP is that, you know, you can't just brush aside the antecedents of these people, that they were, you know, wanting to create some kind of revolution, that they are, you know, perennially trying to bring in this elusive revolution. These are things that the BJP is saying need to be taken into consideration as well. Now, you can say you don't want to respond to it and dignify it.
Unfortunately, Zaka, the BJP happens to be in government. And I saw on your channel and your sister channel on Hindi last evening that there were intelligence inputs of something like this happening. What was the security apparatus doing? Why does intelligence continue to fail us? Because this government wants to look away the other way on every single issue. Even on this issue, we are not discussing security, we are not discussing the breach, we are actually suspending members of Parliament who are asking tough questions on security. And no, I completely disagree that they were unruly. I can show you videos where they were protesting peacefully, and that's the right of a member of Parliament, which he or she cannot be denied.
What was wrong with members of Parliament asking for a statement from the Home Minister? Now imagine if this had happened, if the UPA was in power and the Congress had a Home Minister, by now you would have forced him to resign.
Okay, so Zaka, I've been wanting to speak for a while.
And I don't think the antecedents of these protesters can be ignored. And I really think it's very hilarious that Supriya makes it out to be about one MP who's from the BJP and connects it with the unruly conduct of 14 plus one from Rajya Sabha MPs who've been suspended because of bad behavior, unruly behavior, and those are the house rules. But more than that, let me, Zakat has happened last time. We'll have to ensure that I speak because I don't think this is anyway.
Go ahead.
I think before I go further, I really would like Dola Sen ji to apologize for the pejorative she used, the language she used for Bania. Bania is a community, and she used this word in a derogatory manner, and I don't want her to be facing some FIR on this basis. We know what happened with Rahul Gandhi when he made fun of an OBC community. So I would like to ask Dola, and I would like to ask her, what does she mean by this is a Bania institution? What is meant by that? I think it's disgusting to have my fellow Indians being discussed in a certain manner, and to have Dola Sen, who's a Rajya Sabha MP, if you please, use such disgusting language for a community and to insult them in the manner she has.
Okay, Dola Sen, you want to respond?
हम फिर ये बात ही बोलेंगे, उल्टा चोर कोतवाल को डांटे. हम कोई कम्युनिटी के खिलाफ कोई बात नहीं बोले. हम बोले ट्रेड यूनियन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट और बानिया की एक फर्क होता है. ये फर्क पुराना पार्लियामेंट हाउस के साथ नई पार्लियामेंट बिल्डिंग की है. उल्टा चोर कोतवाल को डांटे, इसीलिए वो कम्युनिटी की बात उठा रहे हैं बेवजह. जैसे हमारे ऑपोजिशन पार्लियामेंटरियन क्या बोले थे हाउस के अंदर कि होम मिनिस्टर आके बयान दे, और कुछ नहीं. अभी पार्लियामेंट चल रहा है तो होम मिनिस्टर को जो भी डिसीजन लेना है उसको रेटिफाई करना है पार्लियामेंट में आके. ये बात हम बोले, ये डेमोक्रेसी की बात है, ये हमारे राइट की बात है.
Okay, let me close out with the two experts on the panel, Deshdeepak Verma and BL Vora. Deshdeepak Verma, questions are also being asked about this whole parliament visitor system where MPs simply I'll come back to you. Where MPs, issue these visitor passes, recommendations. Many times, oftentimes, it's the MP staff, giving in to constituents from their constituency and so on. The MP probably doesn't even know who these people are. Should there be, in light of what happened yesterday, should there be a revision of the manner in which these visitor passes are being issued by members of parliament?
Yes, I agree that there has to be some reconsideration on this. The simple reason is that the parliament and the visitor gallery has a capacity, and therefore the number of the security personnel has also limited. So therefore that number has to be limited, and the MPs have to, generally what is happening is that most of the PA and the PSs they are the ones who are deciding and almost taking every decision regarding the number of people and the persons for whom the passes are to be recommended. But it is important that MPs should also give some due diligence, even though I will not go to the extent of what my police friend was saying, that you should get a police verification done beforehand, and the Lok Sabha Secretariat may not have any say in this, because we must understand that the parliament is an autonomous organization. It is not part of the government, and therefore it has to be an autonomous arrangement there.
Okay.
And therefore the security, and in any case the security is headed by a joint secretary. Unfortunately that post is vacant for the last 3 months, who is an IPS officer, and therefore I don't think that there is any flaw in that. But the importance is that due diligence on the part of the MPs and due diligence on the part of the security personnel, also keeping in mind the carrying capacity of not only the visitor gallery but also the number of persons who are attending.
Every system may have a flaw. Yesterday the current system's flaw showed itself up. Mr. Verma saying that it doesn't mean that you overhaul the system. Yes, you can fine tune a couple of posts that have been not filled up, which are vacant, that needs to be filled up, but he doesn't feel the need or see the need for a total overhaul of the system where you have just one agency manning security from end to end?
Well, see, it's a matter of one's own opinions depending on one's experience. I stick to what I said with due respect to my colleague there. See, the point is, if times have changed, the solutions also have to change. In extraordinary situations, there have to be extraordinary solutions also. Now, if police clearance, why should it be a problem? Even the Lok Sabha security staff can have the police clearance with the pressing of just a button on the computer.
Okay.
Then MPs can be asked to give the names of the people in advance, 15 days in advance. How does it matter? See, after all, if we have the intention, we can overhaul the entire system for the good of everybody and for the prestige of the country.
I am completely running out of time. Supriya, since you asked for a 10-second final comment. Yeah, 10 seconds. I got to wrap up after that. Quickly, please.
Just a 10-second point, and I'm going to leave you with this thought. You know, an average MP represents 15 lakh people, so we've got to have ways and means where he does not alienate people. But I just want to leave everybody who's watching this show with one thought. If this was not a BJP MP, if this was an opposition MP who had facilitated entry, and least of all, if this was an MP who was not from the Hindu majority community, or for that matter, if even one of the people who intruded parliament was a non-Hindu, would the discussions have been the same? And would the BJP
I'll humbly disagree. I'll humbly disagree and wrap up on this note that I don't think we need to make every issue into a Hindu-Muslim binary. It was a massive breach. It doesn't matter the religion of the people who came or the religion of the MP who facilitated the entry of these people. That I think is a complete rabbit hole. That's not relevant to what happened yesterday. What we need to do is to fix what went wrong yesterday. And yes, for that, accountability needs to be fixed. And let's see what the inquiry of the DGCRPF finds out.